Hello and welcome to Shambhavi Spectrum. It's a lovely evening in March, and I have here an entrepreneur who has to be congratulated. She's finished 10 years in her entrepreneurial journey. Suman Manning, welcome, and thank you so much for finding the time to talk to me. How are you doing today, Suman?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a good day. And thank you for reminding me of how long this journey has been. Even though I didn't start off as being an entrepreneur, that's where it's certainly taken me.
So time flies is like it's not even relative term anymore. Time does fly. Tell me,
Um,
how did your journey start? And for my audience, two is good, three is better, more the merrier. So Twins Plus Arabia is the company which Suman founded, and that was in 2011. And she's going to tell us more about 2011 to 2021. What has
yeah,
the company evolved into, how it started? Please give me all the details.
sure. I mean, who doesn't love talking about themselves? Well, my journey started many, many years ago in Dubai. I've been here for 25 years, and my background has always been events and fashion. And in 2010, 2009, my husband and I realized we were pregnant with triplets. So our first pregnancy, and this was this huge blessing which we see now, but at that time was a massive shock. And I don't think we can even quite put into words, what that felt like. And it was a mixture of shock, excitement, complete fear, terror as well, and just being completely, feeling you're not equipped and we're completely unawares and caught off guard. But, we wanted to be parents. And I've always wanted to have twins. Apparently, my uncles are twins, and apparently, my mum says that I've always talked about, having twins. So I think I was fascinated by the whole world of twins, and here we are.
Everyone is fascinated, let me tell you that.
That is true. That is absolutely true. People are it's a fascinating world. There's so many questions, there's so many assumptions. And one of the things is, there we were sitting and staring at a scan picture and the doctor's reception with these, three little blobs and being told that we're going to be parents of triplets. So that in itself put the brakes on my career as an event director, and I had to, put everything on hold to just really focus on my pregnancy. And I remember Googling at the time to see if there were any support groups, if there were any help groups. I was thought surely this is very new to me, even though Dubai was not new to me. Dubai was my home at that point. I'd met my husband there. I'd been there for 14 years. And, Dubai was very familiar, but I had never experienced or knew anybody with twins. I'd never experienced a journey as a mum. So everything was new. And so we Googled, support groups. And I found a number for a lady who was running a group at the time, Francesca. And I remember ringing and saying I was pregnant with twins. And her first reaction was, congratulations. And I thought, oh my gosh, here I am so nervous and so scared. And this wonderfully friendly voice says, congratulations, welcome to this community. And then introduced me to another lady who had triplets and who was also part of the group and running the group. So when I rang Kate, that was her response as well. Welcome, congratulations. And I thought, what is wrong with these people?
You've come to familiar. Yeah, for them probably it was like another member and just something which was the norm.
Very much the norm. And they were so excited for me, to join and be a part of this community. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. Fast forward a year, and I was very much a part of the group. They were very much a part of my pregnancy, helped me through my expectations. And when the babies came, I was a lot more mentally prepared than I think I would have been. And that would have led to, I think, a lot of issues in themselves, and we all face a lot of challenges as a mother, whether you have one, two, or three, or more. And it certainly is varying scales. So
I will
yeah.
ask you questions
Hey,
later on about how you manage your home and things like that. But going back to, and I remember this somewhere in the newspaper, a nice colorful picture, and I can't even remember which year it is. I'm sure it was more than 10 years back, a colorful picture somewhere and saying that this event was held for twins. And I'm like, wow, that would have been so nice there to just
it's
see.
the anniversary today. 8 years ago, we had our twins festival actually.
So it was just
And
8 years. See, and I'm like, I don't know when it was. I'm ancient. Okay, forget it. Continue,
And 10
please.
years ago, Kate had to, as expats here, a lot of our decisions are not made for us, are made for us. Kate had to relocate back to Australia, and they were looking for someone to take over running the group. So we were a very small group at the time, purely like we were about 50 mums, meetups and play dates. And I said, the group has given me so much in that 18 months of me being a part of it. So I said, I'd really like to take on and, organize some of the activities and get involved. So that's my foray into the twins community in a more official way, I would say, where then my background of events came into being. And Twins Plus Arabia has always been a support group. We are a community-based group. We are very much part of providing support, resources in terms of experience, in terms of advice, in terms of practical tips, and and really just real advice for expats.
Yes, and at this point, I should say that I did look at your website, and particularly, I want to point out that I looked at the blog section because I'm always interested in, things what people do apart from in the website. How do they use it for marketing? And some of my audience is entrepreneurs and students who are looking at this and who hope to be inspired. So, and then I saw that you had blogs, and the blogs were from different fields, different people, some therapists, and there was various content in it. Tell me more about it. And now when you say that it's been a support group, I think that is more like in synergy with what you're saying. So tell me more about the support group that you have.
We've always aimed to be about support. So in 10 years ago, Facebook was as a medium just emerging, and it had gained a lot of traction in terms of allowing people to join, to form these virtual communities. And so we started off as a closed Facebook group, allowing parents a very safe space to express their frustrations, their joys, their help to celebrate all their milestones with them and stand by them through the very difficult times. So the Facebook group started to grow, and what we realized was that a lot of members, being expats, don't have the support network that they are used to in their home countries, where you have your extended family, you have your immediate family,
Right.
grandparents, aunts, all part of your parenting journey. Here, a lot of them were very much feeling isolated, felt alone, because your careers and everything takes a back seat. So the blog started off where we were talking to experts, like our fetal maternal specialist. We were talking to a parenting coach. We were then even talking to parents themselves, to able to share their very raw experiences in that way. So then the website grew because we needed a space where people were constantly asking the same questions, to have like a reference center, like a resource center.
But so let me just interrupt you here for a minute. Yeah, let me just interrupt you here for a minute. So you started with the virtual community group on Facebook,
for many
right?
years, we were
and what was it called at that time, Suman?
The group's names changed a few times.
Okay, all right. So no, that's okay. That's not important.
When I took over, the group was called Twins, Triplets or More.
Okay,
then it changed. It was changed when I took over. Actually, it was called the Multiplied UAE Community. But I don't think, if you're not a native English speaker, that was not something that people could search for easily. So then we went back to being called Twins Plus Arabia. There's a lot of support groups around the world called Twins Plus. So there was Twins Plus Canada, Twins Plus Singapore. So we wanted to kind of align ourselves when people were searching online to find support. So we're Twins Plus Arabia, which encompasses this whole region because we have members from across the GCC countries in our group.
Okay. And then came the website. Yeah. So
many years later, actually.
Many years later,
the
yes.
website. Okay. So for me, I'm not a very techy person. So the group that we always referred people back to was on Facebook. And then as the community grew and we became, in the 500s, in the 800s, we organized our first festival, which is where, a small community like ours just exploded. And we got a lot of awareness that we existed as a group, because when you're running a voluntary group, it's very hard to find the money, the resources to be able to, do all the things that you want to do. So at some point, it has to have a commercial element to it. And also because the way the laws were changing in Dubai, the way we had to adhere to being licensed, we had to kind of change the format of the group in itself. So we still maintain the heart of the community as support, but we also then moved to a online website, and we had a content all of a sudden, visually and also in the media.
So when you say we, is there somebody else who was involved with you or who's still with you on Twins Plus Arabia, or now that the model of business of work has changed? Is it just?
It has changed. So initially there was another mom of twins called French expat called Natalie. So Natalie and myself, we organized the event, the festival. And that was our commercial venture. So the group remained completely separate from it all. But Natalie, again, by virtue of being an expat here, had to leave and relocate back to France. But in the past 5 years, the group we've moved a little more towards being visible online. So we're trying to create more content, be a place of reference, really.
Okay. So now if we talk about just Twins Plus Arabia as a company, and you mentioned earlier that it's an e-commerce website, is that right?
Yeah, it's now an e-commerce website because I felt like that was a natural progression to it being a dual website and a dual need.
So where people are searching for support for their mental well-being, they're also searching for things for their physical, whatever products and stuff, yes, which is required for.
So when we were talking about initially, when you said about, being a support group and you needed to raise some kind of a sustainable income, we looked at advertising on our website. But I really didn't want to go down a route where we're allowing brands access to a community that wasn't a two-way street, I felt. Yes. And I just also felt that, there are a lot of websites for families where there's a lot of advertising potential. And I really didn't want to clutter our website with ads. And the way it was originally built as a Wix website. So it wasn't very friendly towards ads and things, and I'm not a techie person at all. So I didn't even know how to monetize the website, and I was kept being told you should monetize the website and you should monetize your community. But that was something that, it took me a long time to kind of even start understanding how, and I never was interested in it. So the most natural way was because a lot of the parents would ask me or ask on our group, what's the best stroller to use? What car seat should we use? What playpen should we use? What was the best diapers for premature babies? Or, we have kind of very specific needs. So I was very conscious that maybe this could be a good way for us to work together. Because of our relationship with the festival, we knew a lot of the brands. So we had good relationships with suppliers, with brands. So we thought it'd be a good way for them to have an e-commerce platform, it seemed to be the way to go.
Yes, so it kind of worked itself. So instead of searching at random and people and you directing them to other places or supporting, this was just the perfect place where they could, for their, all their
And I'll
requirements, they
tell
could
you a
just
funny
look.
story with how it actually started was because I myself have a small brand called Three's Company. And Three's Company was born because I started creating calendars to keep in track of busy families of my kids and birthdays and activities they had to go to. So I started and I printed a calendar here. And then that's grown over the last 5 years. And then I got a few more books and products for, like a twin scheduling book, a triplet scheduling book, things that I used. And I have about 7 products. So when the Wix website was created, they said there's a shop feature, and I had 7 products. So when I put my 7 products on there, they looked very sad, obviously, and didn't even age, nothing exciting about it. And I then reached out to some of the twin mums that I know in the group who import brands. And one has toys, the other one has feeding bottles, and they're all glass, non-toxic, excellent brands. So when I spoke to about 4 or 5 of them and said, would you like to feature your product on our website? They said, sure, let's work together. And in that collaboration, I realized that their product listings for each brand was 50 to 60 pieces. They had different SKUs and different models. So by virtue of talking to 3 or 4 friends in our community, we suddenly had a website which had 800 products.
Wow.
Because they gave us all their brands and their products. So you can imagine that it became an e-commerce website purely by.
Yeah, but it's a win-win for them as well as for you, that what you wanted to achieve in terms of product range, you were able to offer them, and for them, each of them, that much more visibility, because after all, Three's company, right? So
Yeah, I think for them it's another shop, and for me it allowed our visitors to be able to have a variety. So they could look for children's products, they could look for books, they could look for gear, and then I decided, okay, maybe I should make this a full-fledged e-commerce website and move it to a more user-friendly platform. So I had to do like a quick study on e-commerce because suddenly I had this animal in front of me that was growing and there was a need. So we moved to a WooCommerce WordPress platform and did that about 18 months ago.
I see. Great. So that 18 months means just before the pandemic probably started. That is when you pivoted and made it into an e-commerce, in which I think was the ideal time, considering that after that.
Could not have planned it. It was the irony of it was incredible. We launched in February with a live event at the Burj Park in downtown Dubai, where we had a mini festival.
This is 2020. You're telling me about 2020.
Yes, 2020.
Okay.
And we did a live event and we had a shop there. We had actual physical products. We had our brands and we launched. And then everything shut down. We had big plans for a lot of events in March and April because it's the best time in Dubai to do those things. And as you can imagine, March and April were a complete write-off with lockdown and COVID in general.
Right. Okay. So tell me something. Now you're saying that you have more than 800 SKUs on the website, and which product offering which
800 SKUs. We have about over 2,500 SKUs now.
Okay. So I've forgotten how many zeros are there. I knew I was weak in math. Okay. So Suman, tell me this. How much of it do you control yourself about what kind of products should come up? And how much is it left to your partners, your collaborators?
Most of it is, I would say that's a great question. So initially, we just put everything on because I wasn't sure what somebody would respond to and what they were looking for. And over the last 6 months, we've really looked at the buying trends because now we have a year's worth of data. before that, I wasn't really sure when people were going to buy, what they were going to buy. And it's been really, really interesting, I must say. Now we can say, this product is a price war on many mom sites. Do we want to be focusing our advertising spend on a product that somebody could buy elsewhere? What are our key strengths going to be? What is going to be our niche as an e-commerce website, selling say 70% of products that you would find anywhere else?
Yeah.
We do have a niche, but that's a much smaller niche than our majority of the products. So it's been a learning curve, very steep learning curve, where it's ideal and it's nice to have so many products. But does it slow your website down? Does it confuse people? Does it, add to, like I said, or like a price war, where people are comparing? So I know for a fact that everything that we have is the same or slightly lower priced. We're very competitive, but when a big brand goes on a big sale, we don't get involved.
Right. Okay, so that is so now you are like kind of more filtering the products and stuff. So one of the questions which I would have loved to ask you is, how many products do you have which are like exactly the same? They're supposed to be 2 pieces of each or 3 pieces of the same because people want to buy the same thing for their twins and whatever in their mind, being fair or whatever. How does that work? How many products like that do you have? Or is there really a demand for that?
There is. And as part of me tries to tell people not to buy it. You don't need 2 bathtubs, for example. You don't need 2 steamers, and you don't need, bottle racks. But other things that you do need, that would be a smaller thing, like your teethers. You can't have enough of the teethers. You can't have enough bibs. So what we've actually started doing now is we're bundling toys together. We're bundling essentials together. So as a parent, you are able to get 2 similar toys, but they're a little bit different. But as a parent, your children will want exactly what their brother or sister has at that moment.
Yeah, and that is for siblings. Forget about twins and triplets. I can't even begin to imagine what that, what that war looks like.
Yeah, but the thing that I've really seen, Shambhavi, is that the products that we had 10 years ago with my kids are so evolved, are so different. So, we can't even, it's not even that long. I would say 5 years ago. Products are constantly being developed. Products are constantly being changed, taken out of, the buying cycle. So it's not really as simple as, as just reordering or rebuying all the time. So it is quite a fast-moving industry.
So things keep changing and there's a lot of innovation which keeps happening. And of course, now I think in the last 1 year, we've seen that in the last couple of years, but I think in the last 1 year, we have gone back to our traditional, kind of games and off-screen time and all. I think that is more a conversation now rather than all these high-tech, technology-driven. I think we're trying to revert back in many ways. Has that affected or influenced your work in any way?
I think we have gone a lot greener in our brands as well. I know that I would definitely prefer buying the wooden toys or BPA-free toys or products. And also, you see a big emergence of bamboo being very readily available and part of your dinnerware, your toyware, it's part of so many different categories now that we do have really nice products. So I made sure that once you have the nice brands and their story or their ethos, or most of our products actually are supported by twin families themselves. They're owned by twin families. So, we kind of are knitted in with our community in that sense. And the product range, you do have cheaper versions that are like you have slow fashion, you have I think it's now parents are being very much aware of how much stuff they have and whether they could have or multi-use products and purpose products. So you're not buying one toy for just one
occasion or
an occasion, and you can use it and you can build it or you can adapt it. Even like your cots, your cots can now be multi-purposed and used, and they become play mats are now reversible, where they can look like a carpet and you flip it and then it's a play mat for a toy or for a child. So it's all about beautiful decoration and your home decor and Instagram, and all has to be Instagram worthy. So many different aspects of it.
You've just led the conversation to that, because one of the things which I normally ask is how do you market yourself, and how do you keep track of it? So Instagram is is it your go-to tool, or it's one of the tools that you use?
It is, and I'm a dinosaur. If you think you're calling yourself one, I'm a dinosaur. When it comes to Instagram, I came onto it very, very late, but it plays a huge role in our marketing. We find that twins and triplets, or this community, is very visual. It lends itself seamlessly to Instagram, where people are sharing their struggles, sharing their joys, and it is got a huge following. So we find a lot of traction in being a part of that, and we find that a lot of people are following us now, and its content is key. So it's all about,
it's kingdom now from
yeah. It really
and you've
is.
got your own jungle out there.
Every day is a cool day.
Yeah. Okay. So Instagram and Facebook, you mentioned you have a community. Is there a Facebook page that you have?
We have a Facebook page called Twins Plus Arabia, which is linked to our Instagram account, Twins Plus Arabia. We have a very active Facebook group, which is a closed group. So we vet the people who want to join as being parents of twins or expecting parents of twins or triplets, definitely, or if they're twins or triplets themselves. So we kind of make it a very safe space, because people share a lot of very private details, kind of very graphic, and we don't really need it to be open.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about Facebook, and you've got, what about LinkedIn? I'll come back to your website in a little bit. Tell me about LinkedIn. Do you have a page on LinkedIn for the company? And
you're not going to like this. I don't. I have a personal page.
Okay.
And I get asked about LinkedIn by the more techie friends that I have.
Right.
But Twitter and LinkedIn, I think we have a Twitter account.
I would have asked you about Twitter. Do you tweet? How often do you post content on Twitter?
I must say.
Sorry?
I'm not a tweeter. I must
Okay.
say.
But you have an account. You don't use. You've not used it much. Okay, so Suman, you said you're not a regular tweeter, and but your Facebook community is very active. Your Facebook page is active, and Instagram. Do you do live on Facebook or Instagram?
No. Again, it's something that's on my to-do list of things I need to do and things I need to be, getting involved with.
Right. So on another note, when we were speaking about LinkedIn, and you said that many people ask you, and you mentioned the term techie, what I would have liked to kindly submit is that it's not just about the techie part. The fact is that people deal with suppliers, and they find customers, and not forgetting that there are many professionals out there who might be seeking something like that for themselves as well, and then who could become your network, your community. For just like how on Facebook, not everybody is on Facebook, and not everyone thinks about it in those ways. For it's like a friends group. Nobody thinks that it could be providing you with information of these kind of information also. So it's, in some ways, LinkedIn has become a place where people get business ideas. So I think it would be a great idea if you had a LinkedIn page. I mean, I think that would be great, and I'm sure you'll get lots of followers as well. Sorry, hold. We're back after a technical glitch. Thank you so much, Suman, and sorry about that. We were talking about Facebook, we spoke about Insta, we spoke about Twitter, where you think that your presence is not enough. And we did talk about LinkedIn. And of course, I, as usual, was recommending about a LinkedIn page for your company. And let us now just go back a little bit to your website. So your website has these product offerings, and you have blog, like as we discussed before. But tell me what else? Does your website have a chat bot? I mean, are you into that?
No, we don't. We looked at having a real response, but we do have a WhatsApp number that they could message,
Okay.
but we don't have a chat bot. No.
So that is a business WhatsApp, which and does it just give you the initial welcome message, or are there follow-up queries which people can do through that WhatsApp?
Good question. No, it's just an initial welcome message, and I'm usually online. So either myself or, when it's busy time, we have another person who's able to just manage the chat, so people can kind of mostly get an answer pretty straight away. If it's on Instagram that we find that we get messaged on, not so much on Facebook, but yeah, on WhatsApp, the business number.
You get messages, so you're actually it's like a one-on-one, because you personally are attending to this, so it's like almost as a one-on-one, and you know what is on your
Yes.
what is the product portfolio that you have.
Yeah, it's usually a query that's out of stock, or how long it would take to get something, or if they're looking for a particular product and if we could source it for them.
Okay, so you've not installed any CRM software and things like that? You haven't?
It's on my list of things to do, because I am looking at a CRM software to manage all our data and our, excuse me, our customers, because we have this data on them now that we should be able to, offer what they want, and how we actually market to them in terms of our email newsletters and the targeting.
Right. So email newsletters. So you do send newsletters. How often is that? And sorry, before you get on with your newsletters, I must tell you that there is so much of debate which goes on, even in the groups where we are common, about whether we should have newsletters. I had somebody recently on the show who said that newsletters are so boring, and I said maybe you need to look at the content. So you tell me, how does your newsletter? What does it look like, and how do people respond to it?
Our newsletters have been very, when it was a twins only group, we were very twins and twin triplets focused. So we had a blog in there which was, pertaining to the community. We had links in there which we felt that, would be useful. Now, because the website caters to people who don't have twins or triplets, it's not just our community. Actually, about 80% of our customers are not twin or triplet community members. So we don't want to make it about the twins community for them. So it's very salesy. It's really just product images that we have and prices. So it's more of a offers, new brand, new product. And I do understand that it's not a very effective way, I would say. But there are a lot of people like me who still open a newsletter just to have a quick look. Very quick.
I do too.
And especially with a brand or a company that I've worked with before. And if I know it's, because I don't go shopping. I don't go to the malls, and I haven't been out. So I rely on ads to show me what I know, what there is out there. I know for a lot of people, they find it very annoying. They find retargeted marketing quite invasive. I like that Facebook knows what I like, and it's showing me products that I would buy, because it helps me buy stuff that I like and see it, and I don't have to go to the malls, and everything is online now. But again, to search online for, a nice dress, or, but when it pops up on an ad, I am that person who buys.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so it's good information which you're giving and a good insight, Suman, that it takes all kinds. It's not that people don't use these ads or they go waste or, when people spend money on these kind of things. So I'll come to the Facebook ads in a bit. Just tell me a little bit more about what is the frequency of your newsletters?
So ideally, we'd like to send 2 a month. My e-commerce guy wants to send 1 a week.
Okay.
I find that a bit too much at the moment. Maybe I'm holding it back, but we do 2 a month.
So I think maybe your gut reaction is good because you are also a recipient, and at the same time, if you're sending out and mom with triplets would probably you understand how much time a person actually has. So maybe your gut reaction is what it is all about. And let us be very honest, entrepreneurial journeys are about gut reactions and what would work. So that is so the newsletter and every newsletter. So there is some call to action as well, right? In that, so there is something which is special for that particular newsletter.
Yes, it's like a featured product. We have all our discounts are very clearly shown, and we have the buttons that say shop now. I mean, with Instagram, the shop feature was not available to us
Right.
until yesterday. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to explore this because we
Right.
have amazing, beautiful images that would be nice to be able to, point out to, if they were to use their cursor to show you where these products are or what brands they were. So I'm excited about that.
So now that you say that your target audience has become kind of fragmented, it's not just the twins and triplets and anymore. So what about your audience, which is on Instagram and Facebook and the website? Are they still the same demographics? Maybe different people, but are they still the same demographics, or is it different?
From what I am gathering on Instagram, it's more wider spread. Are the people who follow us? I guess because we also follow a few of the accounts that are in the US, that we follow accounts that are in the UK. And we have a wider range. But in our close Facebook group, for example, it's very much UAE and the GCC region. So we have, as far as Egypt, I would say, we have mums who chat and interact on the group. But I'm really trying to build up our Instagram following more authentically. So, not by the ads. So it's quite interesting to see who actually follows us. It takes a lot of time to understand it.
Right. About your website, do you you have somebody who's hosting it for you and who's taking care of it, right?
Yeah. So we have a web developer and who manages our website. All the changes that I need in terms of not the stock updates, but a bit more in depth, I would say. Who handles it for us? He's based out of Bangalore,
Okay.
Which is my hometown.
Oh, yes. Great. Okay. So now that you have been doing this for some time now, and you are, I mean, one of the leading entrepreneurs in this particular business, I know that of late you started something else as well. Tell me what is it, and how did you realize that there was a gap in the market and you wanted to do that? The other business that you have. Please tell me more about that.
Are you referring to Build a Box?
Yes, please.
Hamper business, right? So my other hat, which I wear, is a business called Square One, which is my corporate gifting business. So in the years before I started the e-commerce, that was my bread and butter business, which is we service corporates in the events industry and anybody else who need branded goods. So T-shirts, mugs, all your USB chargers, all of those power banks kind of things, which were branded. But with lockdown and the event industry completely coming to a standstill, what we saw was a lot of our clients wanted to still engage with their staff and their clients. So we had to really think outside the box a little bit and enable them to still use us. So what happened was we created a company and a concept called Build a Box. There's a lot of gifting websites and there's a lot of gifting options out there, but what our clients found was they were not able to mix and match a lot of the products. So you could buy a cookie or a baked goods hamper, you could buy a wellness hamper, but you couldn't mix everything together. So that's where we came in, and that allowed me to be creative as well. That was really a good way to use our expertise and a foundation that was already there to do gifting.
Yeah. Okay. And you use similar marketing strategies for Build a Box also?
No. So Build a Box has been quite different, where people have come to us via recommendation and word of mouth. I think either they've already used us in the past, or they've asked somebody, who would you recommend who would be able to help us. And even though we've never really done food in the past in our because corporate gifting was never included things like that, we've found ourselves doing a lot more of that. So people want healthy snack boxes sent to their staff at home, who were all in a weekly Zoom call. So they got a delivery for a 4-hour Zoom call that they got to enjoy a little bit in a different way. We had a lot of our companies giving COVID care boxes to their staff who were experiencing symptoms or were in isolation. So it's been a very strange 6 months. We did a lot of festive hampers because a lot of the companies were able to have a little bit of extra budget from what they saved, in their travel costs for their staff. So they were able to kind of give back a little bit more with a nice festive hamper with lots of goodies. So it was not through online advertising or even Instagram. I think we got a bit from Instagram, but most of it was from our networking groups that I'm part of.
Oh, right. Right. So tell me something, as an entrepreneur, do you have in your mind some kind of time that you devote to Twins Arabia and some kind to Build a Box, or does it just happen simultaneous and everything at the same time?
It happens simultaneously, mostly. I would like it to be a bit more structured, but what I have had to do is we could employ someone who takes care of all the admin side of things for Build a Box and Square One, so I didn't have to get involved in the admin and the invoicing side of things, and I was able to do a little bit more of collaborations. So what Build a Box helped us to do is also work very closely with a lot of small businesses and women-led businesses from, say, groups like Female Fusion Network that we're part of.
Yeah, cheers for them.
Yes, absolutely. That allows us to have this way to connect other business affected by COVID that wouldn't have the opportunity to showcase their products. And what it helps us do is, for our clients, we're able to give them something quite unique, homegrown, authentic, that is not just bought from a supermarket.
Right. So tell me something, apart from the fact that nature and your babies forced you to become an entrepreneur. Was there any other traits which you had, which you would have envisaged that someday you will become somebody who would be doing what you're doing right now, wearing many hats, managing businesses? Did you ever think that you would become something like that?
Currently, it was always in me. When I talk to people who've known me a long time, they're not surprised. That I think it's my love for people. I really enjoy meeting new people and really enjoy the personal aspect of it. And I think that's where it helps me with the client side of things. I've always been a very busy multitasker, because when I did events, I managed a team of people. I managed the whole event itself. So there's so many different components in it. So I feel like, that's translated into my life now, where all those little people that I used to manage are now a different component to my business, except, It's quite lonely. I wish I
Yes,
had a
I would have asked you exactly this, that an entrepreneur's life is lonely, and especially when you're working in a category product segment where you probably are even scared to share your ideas with anybody So how do you cope then? How do you manage this?
Um, well, I'm fortunate enough to have a few groups that I'm a part of. So we are part of a small growth group that are like-minded entrepreneurs, varying degrees of their business, but very diverse. So we meet up, and I have access to them where we're able to share in a very safe space again, ideas and struggles that we're going through. So I feel like I have my team in that sense. It took a while, you've got to surround yourself with people who know more than you do.
That is so true. And have you had any mentors along this journey of yours?
I was quite fortunate last year to be chosen as part of a mentorship program
Wow.
by Start AD, which is a company set up in Abu Dhabi,
Mm-hmm.
and help women entrepreneurs. And they work quite closely with the US Embassy here to champion women businesses, especially startups, but not really startups, but companies that have been in existence that need that extra mentorship. So there's a group called Grow Me that provide two very experienced members
Okay.
to really mentor the group. So we got 3 months of intense mentorship, which really
Wow.
helped me last year to understand my business better. Because when you drive it and you start with passion, or you start with a different need other than a commercial need, you then
Right.
at some point address the commercial side of it. You need at some point to sit down and make sure that all the dots are connected so that it's a sustainable business, it's a profitable business, and that it can last like can last time.
So was there something during that program that you did which caught you like totally unaware, which you did not expect either from yourself or from learning from the program?
Um, Such a good question. That's going to make me think. It really did. What I realized from being a part of that is that I really needed to invest in people in my business. So I cannot do everything. I shouldn't be doing everything. And I really needed to look at, the agility of my business. So COVID could happen today, and we had to adapt. We, build a box grew out of it, which is
Right.
good. But then, how agile is my business that in a year's time or in 6 months' time, if there's another catastrophe or another change in my environment, how agile is my business? So that really got me to think about, the different verticals that your business should go in, and really investing in people so that I'm able to have the energy to focus elsewhere if I need it at a very short, notice.
Yes, I think that is again one of the things, control factors which entrepreneurs mostly have is that you want to be on top of things because you think that you know your business well, but you need to know when to delegate, when to let go. So it's great that you were able to, realize that about yourself because how much ever others tell you, I don't think that really you'd think that no, I'm not, it's my business, nobody understands. That,
No,
that
and
is,
there's also catch-22 with an entrepreneur. I think it's not always just your passion. You also then think, how am I going to pay their salary, and
yes.
what's the ROI going to be, and how am I going to, manage this risk? But I think you have to take that leap at some point, and it is part of business. You have everything is not written in black and white before you make the next step, but I think taking that calculated risks and making sure that you're not just hiring somebody, but that was very important for me, is creating those deliverables, measuring their work and output, so you're not feeling like we're in a trap situation or you don't know what to do with that person. You have to be able to say that's their role, that's their responsibility, and delegate, not have
That
one
Yeah, that is so important. And tell me another 5, 10 years, where do you see yourself? What are you doing? What is Twins Plus Arabia doing, or what is Build a Box doing? And what is Suman doing? More importantly.
5 years ago, whoever said 2020 was going to be this amazing year got it wrong, didn't they?
Yeah.
But where I really want Twins Plus Arabia to be is this region's answer to a lot more productive work in the Twins community. I know that the website is for everybody. We want to be able to provide value to our customers who shop. We want to be able to provide amazing service, which we already do, but that we do that because we're a small business, I feel, and I want to be able to continue this even though when we grow. I want to be in at least 2 more countries as a business, really, selling. And I also want to grow our business in terms of people. And I definitely want to be seen as this region's, main support for our community. Yeah, that we're working with the government to provide better care, to provide research, because that's my passion. If you ask me, is really about using the information that we have within our members to help.
Yes.
Really some big changes.
Definitely, I would have asked you this if this was any other discussion, not only just about marketing. I would have asked you that what is the role of the government, and also when you think that whether it is your medical bills or whether it is your insurance or all these things, and even your regular expenses, suddenly everything is like there is what budget probably you planned for has suddenly become a little bit more than what it was, not a little bit, much more, like school fees, let's say school fees. And I know that a couple of schools give fee waiver kind of a thing, or a discount if you for the third child. But then what happens when 2 children have to go at the same time, and they're graduating at the same time and things like that. So tell me something about that. Are you working on in that area? Do you have insights on that?
I think from a school's perspective, because we have private schools here so much, it's something that we can't really influence. But where I would really like us to play a part is in the medical field, where you have research in the US, and the UK, you have a lot of twin studies that happen where they monitor identical twins from birth, and they're able to do a lot of evaluation and research about genetics and how they play a role in identical twins. How is autism play a role? How does a lot of factors here that play a part in the UAE and the Middle East culture with childhood diabetes, childhood obesity, and thalassemia, how they could use the twins community to conduct research that would help them understand how, 2 people who share very similar DNA or identical DNA are affected so differently by a disease, and how it plays a part in it. I find that area really fascinating. How the twins community can play a part in helping. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were discussing offline, if you remember, that a couple of days back, there was this announcement that there are going to be more twins in the world because of the treatment structure which people take for infertility and things like that, which is great for business as such. But what you said just now makes so much more sense, that if there is research about it, then definitely government intervention or, from research bodies can actually help the community and looking at the future aspect of it. Definitely, there is a lot of work which can be done academically, medically, and scientifically. So that's a great insight which I've received, and I hope the people who are hearing us also get some ideas and work around that. Suman, thank you so much for your time, and any last kind of parting thoughts or any mantra that you've lived by as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a mom, anything, any of these many hats and roles that you play in life, anything which always keeps you maybe grounded or flying high, anything?
Definitely what keeps me grounded is that I learn something every single day. Even as a mom, my kids in some way or the other teach me to have that little bit more patience, or to have a little bit more, understanding, or to know that they can teach me so much. And I also have a lot to learn every day. I think my businesses have taught me that I certainly don't know anything. Passion is one thing. Um, Sorry about that.
Don't worry, it's perfectly fine to be
Passion is one thing,
expected.
yeah, passion is one thing, but running a business is a whole different kettle of fish. It's all about, I think, just staying in the game, knowing that it's not the short-term rewards. And I think even as a parent, that is the longevity of everything. To know that you have to be in it for the long run.
Right. So along with your three babies, you're taking care of other three babies, right? So your twins plus and build the box and the brand that you have for yourself. So you have more than enough on your platter, and I wish you all the very best, Suman. It's
Thank you
been
so
wonderful having this talk with you, and we'll definitely have again a conversation on other topics and more. Thanks a lot for sharing all your insights. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
bye for now. Bye.
Bye.